Okay, we have a very bullish show today. Very, very, very bullish show today. The reason why we have a very bullish show today is because, as you can see, Bitcoin is now reaching for an all-time high. I'm going to show you something that gives me the feeling that we're going to have another aggressive leg up that could take us to about $125,000 before we get to the inauguration. This is not a drill, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a drill. Also, when it comes to altcoins, we have another green day on the altcoins, and that is because we have a total 3 breakout, which is actually happening now, which is now actually in progress. When it comes to altcoins, I want to show you, I know the thumbnail said like one monster trade, but it's not one monster trade. I want to show you like 2 or 3 monster trades, including one very big, very, very, very big trade that could last as long as 3 months. That's a massive, massive, massive trade. So today's a bullish, bullish, bullish day. So if you're bullish, let's do this. I mean, you know the market is bullish when a meme coin has a debut at a $5 billion market cap. That's right now what 𝗕𝗤𝗅 is trading at. Remember, I told you 𝗕𝗤𝗅 was launching today. It's now trading at a $5 billion market cap, $4.62 billion market cap. So we're in that stage of the cycle where meme coins are coming to market at $5 billion valuations, and there's a coin called Fartcoin, which is trading at $1 billion valuation. One day, we will look at this and we will say there were signs that the market was overheated. There were signs. Anyway, as it currently stands now, we do have penguins or 𝗕𝗤𝗅, which has actually launched. As I mentioned, it is trading at a $5 billion fully diluted valuation. You want to hear something interesting? I think when it launched, there was a candle. Josh, you'll like this. I think when it launched, there was a candle that took it up to like $1 trillion or something. You know, like that's where penguins went. That's where 𝗕𝗤𝗅 actually went. What you're seeing now, we did tell you this was going to be a very anticipated launch. What you're seeing now, though, is something very interesting. You're seeing a drop in the floor price of penguins. So what happened was people bought the penguins, and they held onto the 𝗕𝗢𝗥𝗦 to get the airdrop of the token, and then they started to dump their tokens. So now you can see, if you look at the penguins, there are people dumping their penguin tokens. To be honest, I actually think that buying penguins now might actually be quite a good buy, and I'll tell you why I think it might be a good buy if you are an NFT trader. I'm personally not an NFT person, but if you are an NFT person, remember that 𝗕𝗢𝗥𝗦 is actually launching an L2 chain. I think the launch is sometime in Q1 next year, so January, February, March next year. And the people that are going to get the airdrops in the chain are probably going to be the penguin holders, right? So I think now, when everybody is dumping their penguins, you should be looking to buy some penguins if you believe in that thesis. And I do believe that penguins are the real deal when it comes to NFTs. So while everyone is now selling, and you can see it over here, you can see that the floor price has dropped. Yesterday, the floor price was at about 33.5 ETH. And you know who was buying at 33.5 ETH, Josh? I'll tell you who. Who do you think? Celebrities. Steve Aoki bought a 𝗕𝗢𝗥𝗦 at 37.95 ETH. If you're still following celebrities this late in the cycle, if you're still following celebrities, you really need to start thinking about who you're following and where you're getting your, should we call it financial advice, even though we all say it's not financial advice. It's not financial advice. Listen, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, we must subscribe to the channel. So we have 1.133 million subscribers to the channel. Also, if you are subscribed and you want some more alpha, then what you need to do is you need to smash up a like button. Also, I see people talking about 𝗥𝗢𝗥𝗦. We will talk about 𝗥𝗢𝗥𝗥 at the end of the show today. I see people talking about 𝗥𝗢𝗥𝗥 in the comments. We will talk about it at the end of the show today. Let's get into the alpha, because I did say I'm going to give you guys like one mega trade, which I think is worth looking at. I want to show you the reason why I'm so bullish about this trade. Show you a whole lot of other trades. I'm still bullish on 𝗕𝗤𝗅, but I'm not bullish on 𝗕𝗤𝗅 at $4 billion. I don't buy a meme coin at a launch price of $4 billion. This one, I mean, the bus has left the station. The bus has left the station. Let this bus ride without me. Let this bus actually ride without me. Anyway, let's get on to the alpha of the show today. As you can see, you've got Bitcoin going up for an all-time high, and you can see that there's a massive acceleration now in the weekly candles for an all-time high. The reason why I'm showing you the weekly candles is because I saw a pattern in the charts, which made me feel like maybe there's another leg up. So if I look at this chart over here, if I look at this period over here, so let's just quickly draw a line in this period over here, just to give you an idea of It's a very vague line. But if you look at this pattern over here, and you look at this pattern over here, you'll realize that we had 6 weeks of up candles here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it looked like a very similar pattern to this pattern over here. And now you can see that we're getting that breakout, the same breakout. Now, from there, Bitcoin still went up another 85% from this candle. Now, I'm not expecting an 85% move. I think an 85% move would be a little bit crazy, but I do think that maybe we've got legs here to get to at least the 120 or the 125, just because it seems that we're repeating this pattern. Not only are we repeating this pattern, it's not only about the repeat of the pattern, it's the fact that we're repeating this pattern with an acceleration upwards, with with almost zero leverage in the market. So you look at the leverage. The leverage is completely low. The funding rates are completely low. So we're getting this acceleration, but there's no froth that is coming with this acceleration. So yeah, this is crazy. Someone says, let's talk about 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓. You actually are going to talk about 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓 later today. Also interesting. So we are at extreme greed at the moment. Now, usually when we get extreme greed, I would say when the market is at extreme greed, expect a correction. That's just what it is. The market oscillates between extreme fear and extreme greed. And now we're at extreme greed. But again, we're at extreme greed, but the funding rates are still low. So we're at extreme greed, but not at extreme exuberance in the market. Now, usually when the markets collapse is when you get extreme greed and you also get extreme high funding rates, which is extreme exuberance in the market. You can see that that's happened every single time towards the tops, even though if like smaller tops. What you can see is that you had extreme greed and you also had extremely high funding. But if you look at the funding rates now, the funding rates are still low. So this is a scenario that I must say I haven't seen for a long time. I've got to be honest. I haven't seen a scenario where we have had Bitcoin accelerating so fast and you're still getting low funding rates. This is extremely encouraging. And you can also see that there's like an insatiable demand for Bitcoin at the moment. Yesterday, the ETFs again did another $636 million, which is, I mean, that's another massive number. And Saylor also buying insatiably. So I must say, huge Chad for what he said to CNBC yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw this, but this is like amazing. Just listen to what he said. This is like a mic drop moment.
Say to people who say, well, it's a Ponzi scheme because every time Bitcoin goes up, you issue more equity and debt to buy more Bitcoin. It just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, just like developers in Manhattan, every time Manhattan real estate goes up in value, they issue more debt to develop more real estate. That's why your buildings are so tall in New York City. It's been going on for 350 years. I would call it an economy.
So I don't want to play the music because if I play the music, I'm going to get copyright strikes. But that's exactly what's happening now. Also, Bitcoin, the ETFs have now flipped the gold ETFs in terms of size, believe it or not. So Bitcoin in terms of gold versus the assets under management. Bitcoin has now more assets under management than the gold ETFs. So we are really making a lot of progress in this amazing Bitcoin journey. Tomorrow, there is the FOMC. We are expecting a rate cut. I don't think we're going to get any surprises tomorrow in the FOMC. Let me just refresh this. I don't think we're going to get any surprises. I think it's pretty much a done deal. I've got to be honest. I think there's like a 90% chance, 95.4% chance of a rate cut. I mean, Jerome Powell could surprise us, but I don't think he's out for a surprise. Not at the moment. I don't think he's out for a surprise. So that is what is happening on Bitcoin. Very encouraging. As I mentioned, I do believe that this pattern here could play out again. And then I don't think we're going to get 80% up, but I think we're going to get a big move up if we continue because the conditions are exactly the same. I see a lot of people here commenting about my shirt. You like it? What do you think? What do you think? I mean, Josh, what do you think of the shirt? Love it, eh? It's not bad, eh? It's not a bad shirt. If you guys want these shirts, I mean, I'm thinking of maybe sending you guys some. Look, okay, that's green. You can't say green on a green screen. I mean, we've got a whole lot here. How's that? All the emoticon memes. We have Popcat, which I think is a great one. Unbelievable. This one's actually not a bad one either. I decided to make some merch, some really cool merch. Let me know what you think of the merch. What do you think of that? That's awesome, man. Lovely. And wait, let me show you another one. This one's actually one of my favorite. How's that? See? That's what happens when the boss makes merch. People are going to kill me in this company. People are going to kill me in this company. Anyway, let's move now to altcoins. So we spoke about Bitcoin. Let's now move on to the altcoins, because there's lots of encouraging things actually happening now in the altcoins. You can kind of see it in the bubbles. You got another nice green day in the bubbles. Crypto, what do they call it? No, man, it's called Cronus Chain, right? That's what it's called, which is a crypto. Just why is it doing terrible things like that to us? Hold on, let's quickly go here. So CRO moving because Cronus Chain, because Crypto.com CEO had dinner or lunch at Mar-a-Lago yesterday. XRP is running because they're launching a stable coin which is actually approved by the New York DFS. I don't know I don't know what DFS stands for. Rune moving up nicely. That means that my trade on Rune is probably doing fantastically well. Let's quickly look at that trade on Rune. Remember, I took a monster position. Okay, so that trade is not doing too badly, as you can see. Let's see which other altcoins are actually running. So Stellar always runs when XRP runs. Curve is running. We're going to talk about Curve later today. Hyperliquid running. Remember, I said to you $28 for me is the top. And I still think it's the top. So that's the altcoins that are actually running. But we're getting two things in the altcoins that you should be paying a lot of attention to. The one thing that you should be paying attention to is that you have the Bitcoin dominance now at a very critical level. So remember, you want Bitcoin dominance to move up when Bitcoin is moving up. And then when Bitcoin is moving down, you want Bitcoin dominance to move down, because that means that when Bitcoin is moving down, money is flowing out of Bitcoin into altcoins. That's your perfect scenario for altcoins, right? So we are on the precipice of something here when it comes to altcoins. Let me tell you what we are on the precipice of, right? So you can see that this is, in my mind, a perfect retest. Now, we could break up here, and that means Bitcoin goes for another leg up. And then we go down after that. Or we could just break down here. Now, there's another sign here that's kind of telling me that I'm watching the total 3 breakout. Now, early on, we were having a total 3 breakout. I think if we can get this total 3 breakout, I think the dominance here breaks down and the altcoins go for a run. If they don't go for a run, then I think the run comes a little bit later. It could be a run which is a little bit spurred by a $16 billion stimulus, which is coming into altcoins. And that is coming from FTX, right? So FTX now have agreed or announced that they're going to start paying back in Q1. They're filing in January on the 3rd. They're filing in January on 3rd. You can get your stablecoin payouts via BitGo and via Kraken at the portal. And you can see that what they're doing is they're paying out, I think you said 12 billion. I think it's higher than 12 billion because I think I think it's 14 billion. So recovery is between 14 billion and 16.25 billion, which they're going to start paying off. Obviously, it's not all going to be paid out initially, but this is an altcoin stimulus, which is actually coming. So I do believe that altcoin season is right around the corner, and I'll show you in a second why I think altcoin season is right around the corner. Specifically, that is why I am placing a very, very big bet. And in fact, I have placed a very big bet, but I'm going to place even a much bigger bet on this trade, which I want you to see this trade. It's quite obvious. It's actually quite an obvious trade. And I want to show it to you. So the trade it's very obvious. The trade is this trade over here, which is the ETH trade. So if you look at ETH has been on a downward journey since, you could say, since May 2021, when Luna basically collapsed. It was on a slight downtrend with lower highs coming in and with lower highs coming in. Now we've broken out of this trend over here, and I think that this is going to continue, and this is going to take us into an alt season. I'm going to show you why it's taking into alt season. I think the first thing is you'll probably have noticed that in the beginning of the cycle, we had SOL really overperforming. But right now, when you look at ETH is starting to overperform Bitcoin, and it's starting to overperform SOL, right? So up until now, SOL has been the clear overperformer. Bitcoin has been a very good performer, and ETH has been a very bad performer in the cycle. And I think that now you're about to get the biggest catch-up trade of the cycle, because ETH has really, really, really lagged the cycle. A lot of people called it dead. We even called it dead at one point. We're like, why the hell should we be buying ETH when you can buy things like SOL? And to be honest, I think in the long term, SOL is still my better bet, to be honest. But in the short term, and when I say in the short term, in Q1, then I think that in Q1, the better trade is to actually be in ETH. And I'll show you why I say that. So let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back to the beginning of the cycle. If you look at the beginning of the cycle and you say, the beginning of the cycle, let's take it from the low, which was around November of 2022. what you'll realize is that Bitcoin has gone up by 584%, right? And if you look at SOL, SOL has gone up by 2,657%. So you got a 26x if you invested in SOL at that level. I actually did invest in SOL at that level. I've closed a lot of my trades that I've done in SOL on leverage, and I kept them in spot. But I always keep this as a reminder, one reminder which is open for me, where I bought SOL here at $13.56. That trade is now 15,000% up. But this is the small trade. I had a big one like this as well. But I kept this one in the account that I actually obviously show. Hold on a second. So that is the returns that you would have got if you would have invested in SOL. So Bitcoin gave you a 5x or a 6x. SOL gave you a 26x, but ETH only gave you a 2.7x since the low. Now, I mean that's for ants. Like, wouldn't come to crypto to get a 2.6x return from bottom to top. If we wanted a 2.6x return from bottom to top, we would have gone directly and straight to the stock markets. But we didn't do that. We came to crypto. Now, if you're in crypto, you want to be getting higher risk-adjusted returns, right? And so what we are seeing right now is that ETH has started to break out, and there's going to be a catch-up trade, which is actually happening. Now, I kind of agree with Eric Krown's thesis that for now, not forever, because forever I think Solana still outperforms ETH in the long term. But for now, I think maybe SOL takes a bit of a break. Remember, SOL's already given us 26x returns this cycle. ETH has only given us 2.65% returns this cycle, right? So maybe you could say that the first part of the cycle was SOL's part of the cycle, and the first part of the cycle was meme coins, right? We all played meme coins because there was nothing else to do in the market. It was boring. The market was choppy. The market was moving sideways. SOL found a casino that kept us all intrigued, and that was pump.fun/meme coins, right? And now what you can see is that the activity on pump.fun since November, it topped out in November, and it just started to go down. So we had like a month of activity going down on pump.fun. So why is that happening? Because since then, the altcoins have started to run, and people are kind of going, hold on a second, what do we need to invest in these worthless pump.fun meme coins when we can invest in things like AI agents? And we made a show in November telling you that there's a good shift from meme coins into AI agents. You remember that? Into AI agents. I said to you, like, there's something big happening on ETH. I remember it was a Saturday or Sunday show. And I came in here and I said, like, there's something happening. It's going to pump ETH. And what it is, it's this movement of AI agents specifically around Base. I don't know if you remember that. For those of you who do, congratulations. That means that you pay attention during the shows. But now we've got other things that are pumping coins. We've got AI agents. We've got a whole lot of other types of coins that are running. And so for now, SOL and specifically meme coins are taking a break. And to be honest, I'm kind of happy about it because I always felt a little bit of guilt around the fact that I was making like money around farts and emojis and stuff like that. I was like, seriously, is this why we're here to have a what is it, like, to come here and make money in this amazing technology on meme coins? That said, I do like the fact that memes exist because memes show us that chains can operate very, very fast, and that we can create value and we can trade value and we can send value very, very, very quickly digitally. And that is the use case for Solana. But now what we need the next wave to happen on Solana. And in the interim, we are seeing an ETH catch-up of epic proportions. Now, again, I use the word epic proportions because I do think that this ETH catch-up is going to melt your face. It's going to melt your face. I'm going to show you how I'm trading it as well. So why do I think it's going to happen? So let's start off with the basics. We start off for those people who are new. Someone said, my analyst team is super. You know, I actually worked out that I've got more analysts than I've ever had. Now I've got more researchers than I've ever had. I'm so excited. I've got the sharpest, smartest young people here, like 10 people working as analysts for us. So it's amazing. The research team has never been in better health. You can't apply anymore. We're not hiring any more people. We're not hiring any more people in the research team. Those days are over. So what is it about the ETH trade that I actually like? We're going to start slowly, and you're going to keep making likes, and the more likes you give us, the more alpha I'm going to drop. So let's start at the beginning. At the beginning, you've got ETH, and you can see that the momentum for ETH has actually been down, and we touched the bottom over here, and we're now bouncing. This is ETH relative to Bitcoin. ETH is now bouncing, and it is now on an uptrend relative to Bitcoin, and it actually just put in a higher high over here if you exclude the wicks. And now what we're looking for is a much higher high. And that is what 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗦 was actually speaking about. The next thing that I look at is I say, look, let's just look at basic seasonality. Basic seasonality says very simply that January, February, March are the best months for ETH. So you look at January, February, March, the average plus 37, plus 34, plus 30. And then if you look at the rest of the year, January, February, March is just the best quarter for ETH. So that's like saying, it says to me, look, just simplistically, if you look at the quarterly returns on ETH seem to be the best in the first one. More so exacerbated by the fact that the ETH BTC chart always bottoms in January of the year after the halving. So if you look at the bottoms of the ETH BTC chart, bottom was here in January of the year after the halving, bottom was here in 2021 of the year after the halving, and bottom was on the year. So not bottom because it bottomed slightly before, but after the halving, basically we get one more bottom, and then it usually bounces on January of that year. So what we're seeing here is we're seeing that not only is January, February, March good, but specifically in post-halving years, it is the best one. It is the best thing. Then we look at ETH ETF flows. I'm going to show you something very, very, very interesting in this ETH ETF flow. So if I look at ETH ETF flows, they used to have a lot of negative flows. Now, as you can see, they've got a whole lot of positive flows. In fact, what I want to show you about the ETH positive flows, I asked the researchers, because now there's like 87 of them, right? So I asked the researchers to just work for 1 month, just go 1 month back and tell me in the last month, relative to the market cap of the token, which one has had better inflows? And if I look at that, you can see that ETH has actually had much better inflows than Bitcoin, because if you take inflows relative to market cap, Bitcoin has inflow ratio of 0.38 and ETH has an inflow ratio of 0.43, which means that right now, Wall Street is rotating to ETH, okay? So Wall Street is rotating to ETH, as you can see. You can see it both in the ETFs from the, let's call it the more retail, unsophisticated investor. But then you have the sophisticated investor. Just look at the rate of acceleration of open interest. So that's ETH. And that's Bitcoin. You can't even compare the rate of acceleration of open interest. So it looks like TradFi is really coming for ETH. Next thing about ETH is that we are getting an upgrade for ETH. The upgrade should be coming round about Feb. It is called, let me just not get the name wrong, because they have like very weird names. This was called the Pictra upgrade. It's a big upgrade. Now, what do we know about ETH upgrades? We know that every time ETH has an upgrade, it's bullish, okay? So ETH upgrade, ETH upgrade, ETH upgrade. ETH is always very positive going into an upgrade. Now, the upgrade comes in around February or March 2025. There's still about 3 months to the upgrade. And what you can see is ETH is now building that momentum that takes the higher high into every upgrade. And the reason why that is from a fundamental point of view is because the fact that this collective of ETH developers, which are all scattered around the world, can work together and deliver these amazing upgrades to a plane which is already flying in the air is a massive feat every time an upgrade happens. And so the market gets a little bit nervous before the upgrades. And then when the upgrade happens, like, wow, okay, it happened. So what you see now is you're seeing that there is an upgrade coming. It's quite a big upgrade. I'm not going to go into the specifics of the actual upgrade, but suffice to say that it's a really big upgrade. And ETH is bullish into upgrades. So if ETH is bullish into upgrades and we're having a big upgrade, well, that goes with my thesis. All right, next thing the next reason why I'm extremely bullish on ETH right now for Q1 is the following. It's basically the Trump trade. So the Trump trade. So I look at Trump, and what I know about Trump is he is gone completely pro-crypto. Now, who stands to gain the most if Trump goes pro-crypto? Well, for one, you could say the first thing is you're going to get a pro-crypto SEC, right? If you have a pro-crypto SEC, the majority of the projects that have Wells notices and stuff like that, they're majority ETH projects because they're older projects. And the SEC was kind of playing catch-up to try and catch up to all the projects, right? So think about that. So now you're getting a bullish Trump coming into office. and he's going to have a bullish SEC and a bullish everybody around him. And so kind of like you can think, well, they're not going to take action against all the ETH projects. That's step one. Step two is that I think next year, and I'm going to do a 2025 predictions very soon, but one of my predictions for 2025 is that they're going to switch on fee sharing with token holders, right? Up until now, most tokens haven't done it. And the reason why they haven't done it is because it can deem your project to actually be a security, right? So it can actually happen. But I think when Trump comes into power, I think at some point next year, they're going to, all the protocols are going to switch on fee sharing. And when they switch on fee sharing to the protocol, then I think the tokens are all going to explode and it's going to be extremely good for ETH. So I think fee sharing comes in. And so you should be looking for tokens that would benefit from fee sharing. Curve, Uniswap. Basically look at all the protocols that are Lido, all the ones that are making money, which will switch on each. Go and make a list. In fact, we'll make your list because I've got so many researchers. Researchers, come in over. Researchers, can you make a list of, can you please make a list of tokens that can switch on fees and haven't switched on fees yet so that we can just drop it into the chat here and let's see how quickly we can do it. Maybe we can even get it to you guys by the end of the show. Researchers. Okay, let's see if the researchers actually do it because there's a lot of researchers now. There's lots and lots of them now. They're scattered all around the world. We have one from Singapore, one from Romania, two from Romania, right? We have a lot. We have one from two from the UK, one from Iowa. We got a lot of all around the world. Anyway, so fee sharing comes in. Not only that, when I look at the Trump trade, I also say look at World Liberty Financial, which is the Trump token, right? It's not really the Trump token, but the Trump token. You can see that all the trades that they've made are all basically ETH trades. So the majority of the trades that they made are all basically ETH trades. So you've got ETH, you've got you've got Link, you've got Aave. Link is obviously the oracle that plugs into ETH. You've got Athena, which is an ETH trade. So when I look at this, I'm like, hold on. So Trump right now is placing a lot more bets actually on ETH and on ETH-related narratives. And so I think that that's bullish for ETH, and that actually pushes ETH up. As I said, I think what you got to start looking for now is you got to start looking for ETH alpha trades. And I'll talk to you about 2 ETH alpha trades. The last point is around this chart over here, which is the ETH MicroStrategy chart, right? So this is the ETH MicroStrategy chart. And you'll remember that Ben Cowan actually spoke about the ETH MicroStrategy chart over here. I'll play it for you.
Chart, right? And I look at this chart and I can't help but think that there's a good chance that ETH will outperform MicroStrategy next year.
ETH will outperform MicroStrategy next year.
Look at the chart. I could be wrong. But look, MicroStrategy has done phenomenally well, right? It's done amazingly well.
If ETH is going to outperform MicroStrategy next year, and MicroStrategy has been like we are on 108,000 on Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. And MicroStrategy is now trading at $402. It's had an amazing run. I did tell you that I thought there'd be some slight kind of pullback yesterday because I did think that the people would start selling MicroStrategy. So there we go. So what you can see is that ETH could outperform MicroStrategy. Now, if you take MicroStrategy as a leverage bet against Bitcoin, right? And you say, well, then Bitcoin starts to underperform ETH, but that means that ETH has to have such a catch-up trade because what happens is it's got to beat a leveraged Bitcoin. So if that chart actually plays out, what you're saying is ETH not only outperforms, but actually outperforms a leveraged version of Bitcoin. And we are expecting Bitcoin to carry on going up. So it's not like I'm expecting Bitcoin to come down and ETH to go up. We're expecting both to go up. We're just expecting ETH to go up a lot quicker. And ETH should actually go up quicker than MicroStrategy. So there we go. That's it. So now what are we looking for? We are looking to take leverage bets on ETH. So how am I trading the cycle? I'll show you kind of like what I'm doing. First thing that I've done, as you know, I've taken a big ETH long position. I've taken it on 10x leverage. I don't recommend that you do the same. I've done it because if you look at my liquidation price is about 30% under the current spot price. And so I've got $2.4 million in profit on this position. It's a $7.5 million position or $8 million position. That's the first thing that you can do. Second thing, which I keep saying, but I know you guys don't listen because you think it's complicated, but it's actually not that complicated, is go and buy yourself some ETH options, okay? Come on. So go and buy some ETH options because ETH options are really, goodbye. ETH options are really the, oh God, so many announcements. Okay, so ETH options are really the cheapest way to actually get into ETH. You can see I've got a whole lot of ETH option positions here. I took 100 ETH position at $4,000 for March. That one's doing very, very, very well. I think this is like the best way to get exposure to ETH is to just buy yourself some ETH options. Then you can also buy some ETH ecosystem tokens. Like you can buy a lot of ETH ecosystem tokens, and we will buy a lot of ETH ecosystem tokens. I obviously bought Curve. I'm not the only one who bought Curve. I do think Curve is one of the best ones to buy. Why? Because I do think that we're going to get stablecoin regulation next year. And if you don't know what Curve is a platform which effectively allows you for the least slippage, most effective swaps, specifically around stablecoins. So if you want to trade like USDT to USDC, well, with $50,000 in this wallet, what do you know? Sure, that's incredible. You see, whoa, which wallet is this? How did I have a wallet with $50,000 in it? I didn't even know about it. But what you can see is that like you can trade very, very, very effectively into between one stable coin and another. So that is the thing. So Curve is one of them. The other one which I've taken a big position on, as you know, is Athena. You can see I took $1 million position on Athena. I don't recommend you do the same. I looked at the Athena exchange listings. I just think that there should be more Asian exchange listings for Athena. I don't know. Let's wait and see if anything like that actually materializes. So that's it. I think the big trade is actually to be buying ETH. Like right now, I think buy ETH. If ETH isn't exciting for you, buy leveraged ETH. Buy ETH on leverage. Buy ETH on options and buy ETH narratives or whatever you want to call it. ETH narrative coins. Speaking of leverage, if you do want to trade on leverage, do you think we can get the boxes, or like are we doing the box thing today? Because I've got my Christmas hat here, bro. So let me just quickly go here and I want to show you something. So what you can see here is that if you are trading leverage, what you should do is you should sign up to one of these exchanges. So you can sign up to Bybit, BitGet, or Blofin, right? Now, Bybit, you get amazing sign-up bonuses. BitGet, you get 30,000 in deposit rewards. And Blofin doesn't do KYC. So if you live in those areas, please bring the boxes closer for me, sir. Otherwise, I can't reach, and I've got water here, and I've got a whole lot of things. So, look, long story short, if you do sign up, I get your name. By the way, we're not done. We've got a lot of alpha in the show. There's still a lot of alpha to come. I'm just taking a break and saying, if you do trade leverage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a person before I show you a lot of alpha. I'm going to select a person. This time it's going to be Blofin account number 106 535 68004. If that is your account, you are the winner. Which box do they win, Hardest?
Number 3.
Box number 3. So let's quickly look. Box number 1, which is, by the way, the box that you don't win, right? Has $2,500. You don't win $2,500. Box number 2 has, I'm not going to look, $50,000. So you're not winning $50,000. So what are we talking about here? Why is there things in this box? It's supposed to be just stickers. Why are there things in the box? Hold on, this is worrying me a little bit. There's whatever it is, it's actually like, it's a real thing that you actually win here. Is it a pudgy penguin, bro? No. Not a pudgy penguin. Okay, so if you are, by the way, if you are account number 106 535 68004, email us, giveaways@cryptobanter.com, and you will get whatever is in this box. What is in the box? It's like a pudgy penguin, bro. What is this? Well, you win half a tub of honey and condoms. I don't understand this prize. Basically, if you're in a sticky situation, I think in this Christmas, we've got you covered. Yeah, so if you are account number I mean, what a prize. Like, we could have given away like $50,000, but we landed up giving this poor guy honey and 3 boxes of condoms. You know what to do. Giveaways at cryptobanter.com if that's you, and if you want your prize. What the hell, bro? What the hell? All right, let's carry on. So I did promise you more alpha. So I think we have some alpha, again, coming from one of our researchers today. We know we spoke yesterday about the Hyperliquid ecosystem. And I said to you guys yesterday, I'm not buying Hyperliquid itself, okay? Someone says, I need that. You want it? Are you planning to get into a sticky situation this Christmas? Because we got you covered, bro. We got you covered. Well, not us, but they have you covered. Okay, so the next thing is, so remember I said to you that I'm not buying Hyperliquid. The reason why I'm not buying Hyperliquid, I just think it's too expensive. It's just too expensive at the price. But the ecosystem is actually flourishing. So if you look at the ecosystem, and you can quickly go into Hyperliquid, you can click on the coins, and you can go onto the coins here where it says spot, and you can see all the coins. And you can see that most of the coins actually move up. So you can actually sort the coins by market cap, and you see the coins actually move up. Now, there is actually a very good trade here. And I'll tell you what the trade is. You will remember that in order to get one of these tickers to be listed on Hyperliquid, you have to go through an auction process. And what they do is they'll only auction off a certain amount of tickers. And you can see people are paying a lot of money for these tickers because they only auction off for like one every 30 something hours, right? So yesterday someone paid $975,000 for the God token, and then for Mon they paid 487, and for Sovereign they paid 262. So people are paying a lot of money to get listed on Hyperliquid. Okay, so let's play this out. Imagine that you pay a lot of money, but your token project fails. And so now you've got this ticker, but the ticker is actually worth a lot of money. So you can land up actually selling the ticker. And so one of the good trades is to wait for these things to go down and then to kind of just hold them forever, because you kind of know that one team is going to replace another team, is going to replace another team, because the tickers are in such high demand, right? The tickers are in such high demand. So that is one of the one trade that you can actually do. As I said yesterday, Hyperliquid has implemented a 31-hour Dutch auction to allocate token tickers. During the auction, basically, it's effectively what they do is they auction tickers. That's basically what they do. So I think that is actually quite a trade. Lastly, before we go, lastly. So I do think that there's going to be a lot of tokens that actually land up running next year because of narratives. And the narratives will be narratives that actually get driven by Trump and the new administration. And I think that one narrative that has been hated on a lot is actually been the narrative of privacy, right? So you know that like in this administration, they didn't really give you the right to privacy. So because they didn't give you the right to privacy in this administration, I think when the administration changes, you're going to have a right to privacy. And then you should be looking at privacy-related plays. Now, what are the privacy-related plays? Obviously, you can go into Zcash or into Monero or stuff like that. That's the one thing. But there's another play. And to full disclosure, these guys are actually a sponsor of ours. But I think it's worth actually talking about. So it's called SilentSwap. What is SilentSwap? SilentSwap allows you to send tokens across chain with privacy, with selective privacy, so if you want to call it that, right? So you can decide on the level of privacy that you actually want to apply. You can see it's got semi-private and max private. But if you want to like make payments and you want to mask your address, if you want to be what's it called? You want to be trading but masking your address, or at least masking certain aspects of your transaction, then you go on to SilentSwap. So it's built on Secret Protocol, which is quite a reputable privacy protocol. And right now it's limited. Right now you can only do small trades. I think you can do maximum up to $20,000 trades. But I think if you're looking for some way to send tokens across chain or to the same chain, but by masking the transaction, then you can actually use SilentSwap. Now I think that there is a link below to SquidGrow and SilentSwap. The reason why it's related to SquidGrow is because SquidGrow is like the master token and SilentSwap is the baby token, so to speak. But I think just go and use this. Remember, with every exchange that I give you, use the links that I use here, because that way you know for sure that you're not going to a scam site. And my biggest concern is you do land up at a scam site and then you connect when you press connect wallet and you scam, you get scammed. I will actually do a demo at some point where I show you how I send tokens from one place to another, and then you can see it. All right, so that is the alpha of the day today. Now, I did mention to you guys that I would address the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧 situation because there is a situation with 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧. As you know, the team made an announcement. I wonder if we could just call up the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧 chart. If we could just call it here. So, as you know, we've always loved 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧. We thought 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧 was an incredible meme. I think we were one of the people that put 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧 on the map, and we really thought it was an incredible meme. And we actually gestured or offered the team that we would actually help them to raise sponsorships and stuff like that. And so one of the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧 team, the original dev team, actually flew to South Africa. And he spent some time at our office. We showed him around. We also tried our best and actually landed up getting a little bit of sponsorship. But we never got the amount of sponsorship that we actually wanted. Contrary to what we thought, the sponsors weren't actually willing to pay as much as... the sponsors actually weren't willing to pay as much as we thought they would pay for advertising related to 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧. And the problem is that because the content was so short form, the problem is that as soon as you put in a sponsor, it basically prostitutes the content. Anyway, that was in the beginning when we set out and we were extremely bullish on the project. Sometime later, we had a little bit of a fallout with the original founders, with the original devs of the project, at which point we still supported the meme. We still thought it was a great meme. I still even today think that 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧 is one of the most fantastic memes. But to be honest, we weren't as hungry for it as we were before. And the reason why we weren't as hungry is because we just thought that the team wasn't delivering as per what we expected them to deliver. And so the truth is, at some points, we held massive amounts of a token supply. But we decided to start reducing our position, not exiting completely, but actually just reducing our position. Because, when we had full conviction, we bought up a lot of the tokens in the market. But as we lost conviction, we kind of let the tokens go. Anyway, fast forward a bit later. The original team exits, and they exit to a person who was at one point affiliated with Banter. He's an amazing guy. He's an amazing script writer. He wrote, in my opinion, all the best scripts that actually happened. And we were really bullish that he was actually taking over the project and the founding team had actually stepped away. Problem is, it happened when the money had already finished. And so the problem is that the team had no money to actually fund the production. Now, to run the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧 productions, I reckon it's a minimum of $15,000 to $20,000 a month if you want to be making 2 to 3 videos a week. And if you want to make it effective, you need to be doing 2 to 3 videos a week. Problem is that by the time the new team took over, the money had basically finished and there was no money for production. Now, unlike normal tokens, where there's a foundation and there's founding tokens and there's treasuries, it's the meme coin. The meme coin didn't have a foundation, didn't have a treasury. It didn't have a stash of tokens that they could sell to actually fund production. And if it did, well, then the original founders already spent that through whatever they did. And so what we heard over the weekend was that 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧 had basically run out of money. Now, look, they did ask us for a lot of help to put in money into the project. And the truth is, I was like, why should we put in our money into the project? We're not the founders. We're not the devs. We're just supporters, and supporters that A, put the project on the map, number one, and B, gave it a lot of exposure and helped raise sponsorships for the project. And again, we did help. We raised, I don't remember the exact number, but I think close to $100,000. But then we had a little bit of a slump in the market. We raised the sponsorships really early. We had a bit of a slump in the market, and sponsors just weren't biting on this content. And we tried, and I pushed my sponsorship team really hard here, but they just couldn't sell the sponsorships. So the project ran out of money. And so now the team announced that they don't have any more money and they can't continue to make the content. So where do we stand on this? Look, number one, we think that 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧 is an amazing meme. And we think that it's not dead. We think that 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧 will revive itself. Why? Because I've seen weaker communities do a lot more than the strong community that 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧 actually has. In terms of our support, obviously we are happy to continue supporting it. Up until now, we still do all the YouTube uploading, the thumbnails, the tagging, it run. There's a whole YouTube channel. We do that for them. We obviously do it for free. We don't charge them anything for it. We just do it because we are proud community members. We still hold a small position in 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧. It's not as big as it used to be. And that's because we did start to reduce our exposure when we had a fallout with the original team. We still hold a position. We're going to continue to hold a small position in the token just because we think the community is amazing. Full disclosure, I actually did make a gesture if the original team wanted to carry on, but the original team decided not to carry on for their own personal reasons. And I respect them. I know what the reasons are, and I actually respect them for not wanting to continue. That said, I know I am and I was happy to continue funding them personally for a couple of months. But I mean, it's a meme coin. It's not our meme coin. We're not the devs. We're just early investors, and we managed to buy a big stash, both OTC and on the market. And at one point, we were uncomfortably long 𝗥𝗢𝗏 because we really thought that it would be a meme media station. But now, to be honest, it's not a priority for us. I also, as you know, my thesis on meme coins, my thesis on meme coins now is that it's probably time to be moving more into utility. So we've just, in general, shaved most of our meme coin positions, and we've taken that money and gone into more utility and more infrastructure plays. And so the truth is, we'll support the project. We'll continue to do the YouTube for the project. If there's anybody who believes that they want to fund the project, to run the project, or do that, I think get hold of the devs. Again, we ain't the devs. We were never the devs. We were just investors, community members, and a company that really wanted to see 𝗥𝗢𝗏 succeed. And unfortunately, right now, it's going through quite a tough time. Again, we'll be there for them. We'll happily contribute wherever we can. I'm even willing to, if there's a reasonable plan on the table that I believe can make content, I'm actually even willing to fund it just because I want to see the meme succeed. It's not because I have tokens. I have tokens. I don't have as many as I did. Why? Because as I said, from the time that we lost faith in the team, we started to exit our position. And look, half of our position we landed up buying OTC, but half of our position we actually bought on the open market because we were so bullish. And we just decided to start reducing our exposure because we were bullish, but we were not as bullish as we were in the beginning. And so that is the 𝗥𝗢𝗏 situation. I am fully supportive of any team that wants to do it. Obviously, I don't hold the keys. I don't hold the Twitter account. I don't hold the assets. That is the original team. If anybody has a plan to revive it, I'm happy to listen. And maybe we'll participate, maybe we won't, depending on how credible we think the plan is. But we do think that 𝗥𝗢𝗏 is an important part of meme history, and it would be sad for me if 𝗥𝗢𝗏 didn't buy it. And as I say, I've seen many other communities recover and do a lot more with a lot less. So I think that if you believe in community takeovers, if you believe in rising from the ashes, I think that this one actually has a chance. And yeah, again, my preference would have been that the initial team. Not the initial team, the team that was running it towards the end would have continued for a long time, but they have their reasons why they don't want to or they can't afford to, and I respect it. But so that is a situation. If you want, I am available. I have been on their Telegram group quite a bit, and I will carry on be there if anybody has questions. But again, just a reminder, we're not the devs. It's not our project. We were just investors, supporters. We bought some of our tokens OTC. We bought some of our tokens from the market, and we continue to support the project, even though we're not as heavily invested as we were before. So again, we're not the devs. We never had a treasury. It's not our token. We had full rights to sell when we sold. We were allowed to sell. There were no conditions to our OTC. We did, I think, much more than we were expected to do, and we continue to hold a few tokens, not as many as we used to, just because I think that this community can actually bounce back. Anyway, with that done, I will see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.